So I got this email a couple of weeks ago from a listener saying he was going to send us some beer from his trip to Hong Kong. And I've been wanting to do a lot more shows with beers from different parts of the world. And the reason for that is because we're in Texas, we don't get a whole lot of beer distributed from outside of the US, and especially craft beer. So this was very interesting to me. We had just done a show about beers from Mexico. The craft beer scene has just sort of started up over there, and it wasn't all that great. And I'd heard that the craft beer scene was starting up in Hong Kong as well, and it was just a handful of years ago. I think in 2013, a brewery called Young Master opened up, and before they opened in Hong Kong, there were only 2 other breweries operating out there. Fast forward a mere 2 years later, 38 plus breweries open up in Hong Kong. Now, if that's not an explosion, I don't know what is. You see, what happened with Young Master is that the folks who opened that brewery wanted to cater to the people of the area. They used ingredients and flavor profiles that were already familiar to the people of Hong Kong. And because of that, lots of people became big fans very quickly. And it spun off a scene where no scene was before, igniting people's imagination and passion. And I had heard that story. And when I got the box from Max, I almost fell out of my chair looking at some of these labels. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but when I imagine a brand new industry, I'm imagining them going through similar steps as we did. And by we, I mean here in the US. You know, you have to go through the rudimentary phases, this awkward adolescence in every aspect of this new thing. You might have substandard beer. You're probably going to have packaging that doesn't look too great, maybe some amateurish looking stuff. But no, these beers that were in this box were gorgeous. It was almost as if they were designed for a global market, but with the craftsman's touch that you want from something small. There are painstaking details all over the thing, ingredients, full ingredients listed on every one of the bottles, everything clearly labeled, super eye-catching art that would make US breweries blush. There was a black aluminum can in there with a black top, and I'd only seen that here in the US maybe 3 years ago for the first time. Some of the labels had foil printing, some had really sophisticated transparency on the can label so that the aluminum could show through. These things are gorgeous. And not gorgeous for an industry just ramping up. I mean, they stand on their own. I've been a label designer probably for the last 3 years. And it's a tough business. There's a lot of stuff you have to keep in your mind when designing a label. Printing tolerances, color limits, little things that the average consumer doesn't really think about, but we think about all the time. And what they've done with these labels is really something to respect. And the other interesting thing, and something that I wish we had seen more in our Mexican beer show, is their dedication to using indigenous ingredients. There's a porter that incorporates Sichuan peppercorns and chilies. There's a Scotch ale that's meant to mimic the flavor profile of a milk tea. And there's a goza that uses salted lime to pay tribute to a soft drink that's enjoyed in these tea restaurants in Hong Kong. There's another beer from this brewery that does these tea beer fusion concoction things that sound really cool. And even a pale ale that's incorporating Ethiopian coffee as an ingredient. There's a hazy IPA and a double dry-hopped Imperial Brut lager. It all sounds crazy, and I hope it's all delicious. And I'm recording this before we record the show, which should be out Monday, May 6th. Mark your calendars, check it out, the Beerists Podcast. That's where you can listen to it on your favorite podcast app. So I haven't tried these beers yet. I'm really excited to. And I hope they're good. Hell, even if half of them are good, so far, the stuff I've read, the packaging, everything has kind of blown me away. And I did the research for this episode. And every single brewery had a website that was up to date, clearly organized, and easy to navigate. And it was all in English, too. I didn't have to run anything through a translator. I don't know if it's different in Hong Kong, if maybe they access it there, and it's in their language, and it was just auto-detecting English here. I'm not sure how that works over there, but as somebody in a different country who is checking their websites out, everything was great. Researching this show was a breeze. I didn't have to dig through Instagram to find the information for a beer, scroll through countless Facebook photos looking for any sort of sliver of information. It was all right there on their websites. Hey brewers, here in America, take note. Those of us who are super into beer want to know more about the beer you're making. It helps us enjoy the whole experience. The harder you make it for us to track that information down, the less likely we're going to have your beer. That's just the way this works. Breweries in Hong Kong know this, and maybe that's part of why they're having this massive explosion there right now in craft beer. And seriously, like, these things look great. These bottles look so damn slick, and I can't wait to try these, and I hope you join us in this little dipping of our toe into the beers of Hong Kong. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, subscribe to the Beerists Podcast. Monday, May 6th, this episode will be released. Check it out on your favorite podcast app. Thank you so much. I'll catch you again next time.